We had a crazy summer. Join us as we catch up with each other and ramble on about military life, all of our travels, and summer adventures.
Welcome back to the virtual compound. Today, we're just catching up. We've been on break for about a month, and all of our lives have been a chess game of trying to, get in touch and talk to one another one on one, let alone the three of us. So, we're just catching up and filling everybody in on what we've done this summer and maybe sharing, hopefully, a few things or some fun things or, anything helpful or exciting or something to do wherever we were. I am Lacey. It is 6:05 a.m. on Wednesday morning in California. Okay.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't know what day it is. It's fine.
I'm Katie. It is 9:04 a.m. on Wednesday morning in Maryland.
And I'm Amelia, and it is 10:04 p.m. Wednesday night in Japan.
We are all on the same day from different
Same
sides
day.
of the world for now. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll start off because I had like the craziest chill summer in that I stayed home. I'm growing a human. If you guys didn't catch our post of what we've been up to and a little catch up on Instagram or Facebook, I am having my sixth baby. And
Surprise!
so yay, we're very excited. And I've been busy with appointments and running everybody around, and dance pretty much took up our life this summer still. So, and my husband transitioning, he just retired from the Marine Corps, and we're navigating this whole new, life of not having to move around. So that's it. I mean, we did museums and beach, but we stuck around SoCal, and I was perfectly happy to do so because we love it here. So, me in a nutshell. You guys did way more. I want to save time for you.
Amelia, you're next.
No, I did less. I hung out around Oki. We said goodbye to like a huge portion of our friend group. And then again, like this was like probably like the final exodus. Like this was like the biggest like chunk, I think. Kind of feels like starting over.
But it's been like 3 years in a row for you guys.
Yeah. It's
At
like
least.
it's been like a third, and like the final third. Like we are now officially like the last. Which is super strange. I mean, except for like Dodea teachers and stuff, but we don't know. Like, yeah, we're it. We're like the officially the last ones. And I had big grand plans to like go lots of places in America, and Space A did not play ball at all.
Neither did the weather.
Neither did the weather. And I actually got manifested on several flights and then kicked off of them for various reasons. Like the planes broke, or like the loadmaster decided, never mind, they're not taking any packs, and it was a whole thing. So that was probably my biggest adventure, was like how very wildly unsuccessful Space A was, and we can probably do like a whole episode about Space A at some point in time. I have never been so unsuccessful in my life, Space A-ing ever. So like, I don't know. Part of me was like, it's the Lord. He doesn't want me to go to America.
There's a reason.
There did come a point where I was like, this is insanity. I think it was like, I think it was a C-17, and they're huge planes. For those of you that don't know, they're gigantic planes. They're massive. They seat many hundreds of people if you like have the cargo out. But they also have 73 seats up top. Okay, so this plane had 73 seats up top and all of the chairs in it. So it was like 200 people, something like that. It was 200 or 300 people can go on this plane. It's going to Travis. I'm like, great, it's happening. We're going to get on it. It's going to be great. We're manifested on the plane. And like, it's a lot. And I mean, it was a lot of like 40 or 50 people. It's not like a troop movement. They're not moving troops. Nothing's happening. And they come out and they're like, oh, yeah, they want to stop in Alaska, so they're not taking any packs. I'm like, I'll freaking go to Alaska.
Right.
I don't care. I just need to get stateside. Like I just need to cross the Pacific. Could you just get me across the Pacific Ocean? That's the biggest part of this thing, right? Like I'll go to
Just
Alaska. I'm fine with going to Alaska. Can I like volunteer to go to Alaska? Alaska actually is pretty cool in the summer.
yes, it is.
And they were like, yeah, no, they're not taking any packs. And I was like, it is Jesus. He has decided I'm not going to America because this is like a freaking empty, one of the biggest planes the military has, like for carrying passengers. And it has like all of the possible seats it can have inside of it for carrying people. And on a random whim, they're like, we're going to Alaska. So all
And
that to say, after
I,
like a month of trying to get on a plane,
Oh, I think it was
it
longer
was
than a
longer than
month.
that. No, it was longer than that before she left. It wasn't longer
yeah,
than that
Yeah.
before they made the decision, but it was right at.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
You're right.
and it was like a month, and then um, we just had got commercial tickets and went home. Um, and by we, I mean my parents very generously bought our commercial tickets home. And as a result, I was at the mercy of my parents. So we did not get to go on any of the adventures that we had planned, like about the states, right? Because they had bought our tickets. So the expectation is we stay with them.
Yeah.
And I was very sad to not be able to like go and see my friends because you're like so close and so
So
yet so
close.
far.
Like
Uh,
we're talking like I was blessed. I could have gotten to her. I could have eaten breakfast and met her for lunch. I was that close to her, but it wasn't to be.
no, no, it was not meant to be.
I also did not tell Lexi that we were that close.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
that
tell
would have
her
been
either.
bad.
It was like Lexi's still on the other ocean, right? And I was like, yep,
Mhm.
totally.
Mhm.
Still another ocean.
Yeah.
We were eventually, but that's for
If
me to
by an
say.
ocean you mean an ocean of land, I'm gonna take that as your interpretation. Yeah, and but you know what? Being with family was great, and the kids had a really good time with my parents. Josh got to spend a lot of time with my brother-in-law, who he doesn't really get to see that
Mhm.
much, just because they live far away and like he works full time. He's an engineer, like he's busy. He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
But he got to spend a lot of time with him, and that's really cool because he doesn't really have an uncle that he gets to spend time with like that, you know? But yeah, that was cool and that was fun. And we got to be in America. I got to go to American grocery stores and American shops. And then we went back to Japan, and the first thing all of us agreed on was like, it smells so much cleaner.
Yeah,
Hmm.
especially the
And
more
Clara
the
goes,
It does.
I missed the warm
Houston.
water on my butt.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And every time
Well,
she got on the toilet seat, she's like, it's cold, mommy. Like Oliver Twist. Like, please, sir, can I have some
yeah.
more? She's like, mommy, my butt is cold. The
This
toilet seat doesn't sing to me, mommy.
That's awesome. She's amazing.
I'm
No,
so sorry.
so Jeremy and Abby went to New York for a couple weeks so she could dance. And she, like, every time they were out in public, she was like latched on to him, like holding on. And they got back to LAX, which we don't love LA, especially not LAX. Like, I'd rather do San Diego. It's cleaner. It's just, I don't know. I like it better. It's San Diego County. It's not Orange County. I don't ever want to live in Orange County. Anyway, it's pretty. It's too crowded. Anyway, they get back to LAX and they're like, "Oh, it's so much cleaner here, and it smells like I'm not smelling weed everywhere I go." And I'm like, "Dude, we're
yes.
in California. We've always smelled weed here."
No.
And they're like, "No,
No.
no, New York,
No, not like
New
New
York
York.
I guess I should have
is so
warned you of
bad."
that.
But they get back to LAX and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so clean." And I was like, "Oh, imagine what Katie and her family went through coming from Okinawa straight to New York.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
LA's clean compared to that.
Yeah. We
All
we
right.
yeah. Well, and we lived in a cloud of weed.
Yeah.
Not so much our house, but anytime we went anywhere. Like yeah, we
Yeah.
just kind of pretended as we walked through when we got to certain corners specifically, we would tell the girls, we wouldn't really tell them why. We're like, hold your breath. And then you just
Yeah.
push through. But
Yeah.
then when the Canadian fires hit and we couldn't see down the street because I don't know, did I ever send you guys the pictures of that from my house? And like
I
I'll
think
I'll send you
so.
those or I might even post them up on social media, but I ran a 5K on Sunday and within 3 days I couldn't see 10 feet in front of me because of how thick the smoke was from the Canadian fires. But that's unrelated to that. But yeah, and then so you take that though and you mixed it in with all of the normal smells that were there. It was great. It was great.
Jeez.
Anyway, moving
So
back to
yeah.
this summer and not that summer.
But
I
yeah.
in the way of other things, I probably did the most. Um, we did not do dance this summer. This was the first time. So the of the years
So you
we've
were able to do a lot.
yeah. Well, so
Dance really restricts.
it can. The way that you guys did
Yeah.
dance, it really restricts. But
Yeah.
normally, so the last 2 summers that we've been back in the States, Zoe has done a summer intensive, both in Oklahoma, first with the Tulsa Ballet, the second with the Oklahoma City Ballet. She loved both. But while she was there for her weeks, even though she was staying the night with family, because family was close enough we could drive, she wasn't actually getting time like with family. The rest of us were spending time with cousins and doing things, and she was feeling like she couldn't make the connections anymore. So we're like, all right, fine, but you have to do these other things to make up for it. So she opted for that. So she actually went home with my parents 10 days before the rest of us did. So she got all of that time with just her and whoever she could be around, and she had a lot of fun doing that. And then um, Wyatt and Lexi and I and our friends who live in Northern Virginia, they followed us down to Oklahoma, and we were all there for the fourth. Unfortunately, Wyatt got all of like 7 days off because then he flew home immediately after. That sucked. Um, and had to be back at work. So then the girls and I had nothing else going on in Maryland. So we stayed, but we stayed in hopes that we could meet up with Amelia. And like I said, we got so close.
We were so
So
close.
close. I wanted to come get you from the
Close.
airport, but then you said that's where your family was, so that didn't work. But um
Yeah.
yeah, I offered to pick her up in and just drive her. She was going to land in one city and then would have to drive the 4 hours to the other city. And I was like, I'll pick you up and drive you there, and then I'll just turn around and drive back. So at least I get that much time. But alas, it didn't work. Um, so we stayed for a while, and then we couldn't go down to see her, even though she was there, because we were leaving the country. So we had to drive
Mm-hmm.
back to Maryland because I wasn't going to fly back into the country and then drive back to Maryland. So we drove back to Maryland and watched the first week of the Olympics, which was great. I know you guys aren't big on the Olympics, but we like it. It's very like,
I don't like the Olympics either.
see, I like it because, well, this is a little off. I like this, and we don't have to get into the debate right now. I like it because it is kind of politic free watching. Like it's just being able to watch multiple countries kind of interact with as little politicking as possible. And it's kind of like a relaxing time for me to just watch somebody go do something without all the crazy. But anyway, that's
See,
that.
I want America to win.
Oh,
Like
I totally
I'm
do.
competitive.
Oh, yeah, I
Because you were like,
totally do.
there are no, it doesn't matter who wins. And I was like, yes, it does, Katie. In your text, when you're like, it's just fun watching people. And I was like, no, America needs to win. Like
No,
that's
America needs to
and
win on when I'm watching that, but I don't mind watching the matches that like America just isn't in or we're not
oh
good
okay.
at whatever the
Yeah,
sport
I see
is.
what you're saying.
Right. Like when America's in
Like
it, oh
breakdancing,
no.
I don't want to
my
talk about it.
favorite.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. All right, we're not going to talk about it. So, but what was
I have so
cool
many thoughts, and
is
you
that
don't want to hear a single one of them
I
because
finished
none
I'm
of
watching
them
pretty
are
sure I do. I'm
we
pretty
do,
sure I do, but
but
not
not
on
right
camera.
here. Yeah. So I got to finish watching the Olympics in England and watched it from their point of view because my sister-in-law takes a group of college students over to Cambridge every year. And she's got a little one, so a very little one. So we kind of all banded together, and my in-laws were gracious enough to get me and the girls tickets, and we went over and hung out over there for 2 weeks, and it was super
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And I'm sporting this was actually inadvertent. I didn't really think about this when I put this on, my Cambridge University t-shirt and sweater for this. Loved
Double
it.
layer.
Oh, here's a very interesting fact. See this color? This is the university's like color right now. Of all of the things, I don't really know anybody who has like teal as their color, but it's the
Oh,
official like Cambridge color. Um, there are a bunch of things. It was awesome. We spent a lot of time in Cambridge, went down to London a few times, went to 9 3/4. Here's an interesting thing. Neither of you have been to the Harry Potter store in New York City, or have you?
Mm-mm.
mm-mm.
Jeremy took Abby. Jeremy took Abby when they
Okay.
went.
So did she
Yeah.
talk to you about it much?
They didn't spend a great deal of time there. They literally went for like the photo op and to look around, but like that was
Okay.
it. Like they tried to hit so many things, and it
Right.
was after she got out of dance at like 5 or 5:30,
Yeah.
and so before they like wanted to be back for dinner and stuff, they only had like a couple hours, and they literally hit like I had
As
like
much as they could.
two, yeah, I had like
Yeah.
2 pages of places they needed to go.
Yeah. So the one in the Flatiron district is it's huge. It's probably the size of my house or bigger. It's bigger than that, but like square footage wise, yeah, it's big. So Zoe was really excited to go to London and go to 9 3/4. It's probably an eighth of the size of the one in New York City. But
America does everything bigger.
well, it's not
America
just
does everything bigger.
everything bigger,
Yeah.
but the number of people there was not that far off from what you would see in New York City. So you're literally in the middle of King's Cross Station. Like we actually came into King's Cross because we took the train from Cambridge and we came in platform 10, 9 and 10, which is a new build off to the side and is not actually part of where the movie was filmed because that's the original, which
Mhm.
is on the other end of the building. Um, and so you walk out and there's all these people and you're like, "Oh, this is a really busy place." It is busy, but no, all those people were standing in the two lines, one to get into the shop and the other one to take the pictures in front of the wall that has the like luggage trolley
Yeah.
that looks like it's halfway through the wall. Um, and so we ended up just getting in the line to go into the shop and so excited we went in. They do have some cool stuff. I got a few things that I don't remember seeing in New York City. But yeah, it's probably an eighth of the size of the one in New York City. And yet it's it's a tourist trap. Like it's a
Yeah.
tour maybe I
Yeah.
mean it's a tourist trap. Really the pictures are the tourist trap because this is the only official Harry Potter store. There are Harry Potter themed. It's called House of Wizards, House of Magic. I'll have to go back through my pictures, but there are a few of them around and they all have Harry Potter stuff, but they are not official Harry Potter stores. They do carry official gear, but
Yeah.
the only Harry Potter store is the one inside King's Cross that you have to stand in line to get into. And if you can be inventive, don't stand in line for the pictures. Wait until it closes, like go back late because they leave the 9 3/4 sign up on the wall, but they put the trolley thing in the store
Oh.
and close it up and then they take down all of the ribbon
Mm.
and then you can just take your own picture in front of it. So like we did this weird thing. You have to work on the angle, but if you actually had bags, which we didn't have, we did this weird thing where we walked up and we ducked our heads so you couldn't see our heads and then if you stand right, then it looks like you're putting your head through the wall. Like so
Hmm.
like you see the rest of you, but your head looks
Perspective. Yeah.
yeah. I would recommend doing that one while like holding a suitcase or something though, because like we
Yeah.
did it, but we didn't have anything with us, so we all just kind of look like idiots, like standing there, like headless against the wall. But it was fun. And yeah, at like 9 o'clock at night, there's nobody there other than train riders
Mhm.
because the store's closed. Um,
Yeah.
and we got to go to the Tower of London, and we did the London Eye, and for people who think that who read the thing earlier this year, it was like the London Eye is being taken down. It's not. It's a scam. The London Eye is still there. It's not going anywhere.
Mhm.
And the girls' favorite part of London was the Tower of London, which is an active military base with
Hmm.
family housing. Can you
Yes,
guys
I need that.
imagine living there though? Like,
Yes, that'd be so cool.
right? So I got to
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I got to see it. I didn't get to go inside them, but like I was walking across because the whatever museums, each of the guard towers is its own small museum along the inner wall. And around one end of it, you can look over because they don't have anything keeping you from looking around. And all of these cars line the back side of it. And I was like, wait, that's housing. And that was, I
Mm-hmm.
saw a family like walk in. I was like, oh, it's military family housing in the Tower of London. Like I knew they had said, it's an active base. We did the yeoman or beefeater, same thing technically.
Hmm.
Um, led tour, and he was saying it's an active military location, so people actually live here. But it just didn't occur to me that their families lived there. I was thinking like barracks or whatever, and then here goes mom and kids. It's like that's amazing. That'd be so cool. And yeah, I was just like, that would be really cool to do. And
Mm.
when they're also very awesome people, the beef eaters, like they found out, that we're military, and he took each girl aside and like shook their hands and like said something specifically
Aww.
to them
That's
and
sweet.
told them to tell Wyatt something from him, and then he did the same to me. And I was like, "You're gonna make me cry while my mother-in-law is over here taking pictures, and she's gonna get the whole thing on." But that was really cool. There's all kinds of fun stuff, and I love England. My father-in-law was not as impressed because he's like, it's just like America, and there are things that
Yeah.
are like, there's not. We didn't get to go to Bath and go to the seasides and anything, but it's also there's a ridiculous amount of history there, and if you look at it for what it is, a different
Yeah.
city, it's still very cool, but it's also a good place to get your feet wet if you're traveling because you can speak the language even if
Yeah.
accents are a little messed up. Like
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
good
little bit
place to
easier.
start. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
highly recommend Cambridge. It is absolutely awesome. I've got a great Airbnb that we stayed at. The whole back wall opened up. Um, like literally, they took out the back wall and put in those
Hmm.
retractable glass doors. So you
Hmm.
just pushed it open every morning, and then you could walk into the yard and enjoy
Yeah.
that because, of course, there's no air conditioner. Um, it
Hmm.
actually used to have an air conditioner, but it looks like they took it out when they put in the wall, which was fine until it hit 95 while we were there.
Gross.
Yep. I was like,
What's
okay,
Yeah.
your least
uh,
favorite part of Europe writ large, though? Like
yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere, they're like, oh, but you don't need an AC. And you're like, but you do.
but you do.
Yeah.
You do.
But you do.
So, do you guys follow I am Josh from England too?
Yes.
So, when he
Yes.
Yes.
was
I keep
doing,
sending his posts to Emma, and I'm
yeah,
like, you're not too far off from his age. Like, you
right?
should like send him a. You
Right?
should
Just
send him a
send him.
message.
Yeah, so
He loves America.
he loves America. Um he was, he actually left England the day we left Maryland to come down for the 4th. He left and went to Texas. So he was spending the 4th in Texas when we were spending the 4th in Oklahoma. And it was hot, everybody, but it's Texas and Oklahoma in July. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be hot. And he kept making comments about people in England who were like, "This heat wave is coming through." And he's like, "The heat wave is 74." Like people literally set their air conditioners to higher. I like looked at my air conditioner at the time that he said. I was like, "Our air conditioner is set to 76." Like, and that's your heat wave? So when it hit 95 while we were there, we'd gone to this place called Llamas Park that has Llamas Land Park, and it's this outdoor wading pool, and it was mass chaos. I mean, Clara and Lexi and Josh would Lexi loved it because there was no like regulations. It was just do whatever you want to do, and there were floaties, and kids were just like running through the water and like flopping down, and it was insanity, but it was perfect for her. and I took a picture of my melting ice cream that I couldn't even like keep it from melting fast enough. It fell in Zoe's hair. And I took a picture.
Oh,
I know. I took a picture of that and I like pinned him. I was like, "This is actually hot. Like I'll give you this one. Today is an actual heat wave because everything up to this point, not so much. But I'll give you that
Yeah,
one."
we just had the hottest week of the year here. It got 100 up to 102 on Sunday, which is
Wow.
really unseasonable for like right
Yeah.
here.
I was like, it's
Not so
really
much like the
late.
desert, but here. Well, especially here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
that's
Oceanside, like
super unseasonable for Southern
we top
California.
out at like 90 because we're like 8 miles from the water. Thank you. We're 8 miles from the water. So it never gets like 90 is hot.
Yeah.
So it was 102. And I was like, I'm glad we have a pool.
Right.
I really am glad we have a pool. But um, but yeah, when Jeremy was in London, he actually really liked it. But
Hmm.
when he was in New York, he's like, it's just another city. It's whatever. Like he was really unimpressed. He's like, it's ugly. Like it's just a bunch
Yeah.
of buildings. Nobody here is happy.
Oh, that is true. Nobody there. People even live there. Like they love it, but really, like, except for being a
Well,
tourist, the only reason to go to New York once you've done the tourist stuff is food because food is
yeah.
insane in New York. But
Oh yeah, they loved the pizza, but I think it's just like the constant hustle and bustle, and like you were saying, like it's easy and whatever, and you don't see a lot. I guess like, and where Katie was or Amelia was saying earlier, like there's just it feels like you can't go anywhere. But I like I feel so different, and obviously all three of us had different spots of America, and like I feel like Southern California is like this special little place because I can drive up to the mountains and see snow. I can drive out to the desert. I can drive to the coast, and I have all of that within a few hours. And there's so much to do. Like I am constantly in search of things to go take my kids and see and do, like that entertains the teens and the babies. And so I've found not just with like the Blue Star Museum program this summer, but just like these little pockets of like places that have really cool things to take the kids. There's literally so much to do here and see. And I just think that that's like the coolest thing. And that's one of the things that makes Southern California really awesome. But um, anyway,
well, and
I
I
don't know where
think
I was going with that.
that's all right. I'll jump in until you think about it. I think one of the biggest problems with New York, again, that whole like everybody being in a city, like being there, but they can get to majority of the things you're talking about in the same amount
Mm-hmm.
of time. But they actually, so many of them don't leave the city. Like they don't. They
Yeah.
don't leave the city. Man, like Brooklyn is ginormous.
Yeah.
So even if you were to just go to Brooklyn and go from like one end to the other, you would have more options, but they just don't leave the city. And I think and they don't realize that they're unhappy the way they are. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like leaving and coming back and
Yeah.
they don't know.
Kind of opens your eyes like, oh, I didn't really like, well, and out of sight, out of mind. I
Yeah.
guess it's kind of what we were talking in the last episode with like friends. Like, it's not something that you necessarily think about. It's not that you don't care about them, you don't want to do those things. It's just kind of like an abstract thought.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just, it's
Well,
just
we
the
all
coasts
just
are
like,
different and it's weird. It's
yeah.
weird how different the coasts are, but like everybody knows how different. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole
I think
other
it's
like
but like
philosophy
everyone
story, I
knows
guess.
that lives in America
Yeah.
because like our
Yeah.
Danish family would always like, and growing up, like I am not a politicker. I don't enjoy American politics or world government or any of that. It's just not something that interests me at all. But I was
Hmm.
always like, why can't America just like get it together? Why can't you all just think the same and blah blah? It's like I don't think you understand how big it is
No.
and like how
Yeah.
like literally the western portion of America, just like geographically, the eastern portion of America, completely different. Like
Yeah.
climate, everything. They are not the same.
Well,
And
Yeah.
even if you just go from one state to the touching state, like
yes,
Oklahoma into New Mexico, it's
yeah,
totally different. Like Eastern Oklahoma to
you're not.
any part of New Mexico is totally different. But
Yeah.
actually, that goes back to the I am Josh. Um,
Yeah.
he did
I his does
one of
that a
his
lot.
old ones about like somebody who said something about Americans not having passports and not knowing where Sweden was or something like that. And he's like, Do you have
Well,
any
and
idea how big America is? Seems like they don't need
yeah,
to leave their country to do all of the things that we're doing.
It's huge.
It's massive.
yes.
It's so
Yeah,
big.
Well,
someone was
and
like, "Oh, well, since you're going to Texas, why don't you just like go over to here?"
yeah,
It's another 5-hour plane ride.
That
yeah.
Like
plane ride.
I
Well,
cannot drive there. Oh yeah, like a friend came to visit when I was in um I did a study abroad in Denmark and I met some friends there. One of a friend came to visit America and one of our friends was in Canada and she
But
was
they're
like, "Well,
touching.
let's
mm,
like I'll fly into Texas and then we'll drive up to Canada to see her." And I was like, I mean, that can maybe happen, but like when, like what are you thinking? Like how are you? And she's like, oh, just like over the weekend or like maybe like a Monday to a Thursday. And like it will take us from Monday to Thursday
To
to
Canada.
drive to Canada.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's like,
And
no, no,
Canada's
no, because she
huge.
said she's like really close to the border with America.
You're at the
Yeah.
far southern end.
And we have to
Yeah.
get out of Texas, which is like a day. And then we
Hmm.
have to like go all the way up. Like we're like it to where our friend lived. I was like, it's like a 36-hour drive.
Yeah,
She was like, no, no, you've got it wrong.
Yes,
that's
you're right.
hilarious.
I've
Well,
lived here forever. I definitely have this wrong.
Emma sent me
Googled it.
something, and it was like somebody from Europe talking about coming to America, and they're flying into Texas, and then they're like, "Yeah, so I'm going to be in America for a week. I'm going to go, see my friends in Texas, and then I'm going to go to LA and San Francisco and New York, and there might have been like another stop in there." And it's like
How much money you spending
you're just like
on airplanes?
that, but like, are you just flying the whole
The whole
time?
time?
Because like you won't see anything.
Not in a
But
week.
but when Josh from England was like, you people like people from England, they make fun of Americans when it's like, oh, you live here, like how far is that from England? Is that close to England? And everybody's like, oh my gosh, no, it's like, you know 40 minutes on the train or X, Y, and Z. And he's like, you don't understand, that is close to London
Hmm.
because you're still in the same city for hours in every metropolitan area.
Like I didn't
So
mind taking the Cambridge train or the train from Cambridge in, and even the slow train, so it made stops at like all the little villages along the way, took less than 2 hours. Like that was the slow one that made like 15 stop. It took less than 2 hours. I was like, okay, like whatever. But other people like they had backpacks. They were getting ready to go do this like hiking thing. I was like, okay. And I was like, this, I'll do it because people trying to work in New York City take a 2 hour one-way commute into New York City
yeah.
every day. Like that's what they
Hmm.
do. And I remember another one of his was something about road tripping and the idea of driving, like just driving, whatever. It was something like that. It was like 40 minutes. It was like we decide that we want to go to dinner in Tulsa and that's over an hour away. And we're like, yeah, sure. Get in the car. Let's go. Like that's just for dinner. Like that's not even like road trip. A road trip for us, I remember being in Okinawa and Wyatt and I were so excited when we decided to drive to or to go skiing in Nagano because it meant like a 5 hour drive. We're like, oh, a road trip. And they just don't really understand that, I guess. Because even if they're going
Well,
to go to Scotland, they either fly it or they take the trains. Do you see this? Can you hear her? She's like,
Hi, puppy.
I've locked her down here with me, and she keeps jumping out of the fence because she wants to go after squirrels, so I won't let her outside until I can go out there with her. But anyway, I'm just like, I love the trains. I don't mind them, but it also takes me an hour. I drive to the first train station in DC, and it then takes an hour to get into the center if I take the like metro from there. And that, oh my gosh.
Hi, Penelope.
you're saying hi. Can you say hi? No, you
She's
shy. Okay.
lazy.
She needs coffee.
And
I didn't know that the caffeine doesn't affect the people with ADHD. And I was
It
like,
does the
maybe
opposite.
I really,
It puts them to sleep.
yeah, I was like, maybe, no. Well, I mean, they can go to bed, but I was
No,
like, maybe I
like
really do have it.
it's me. Like
Yeah,
because
it does the opposite.
it does the opposite.
It's
Huh.
like that's why Benadryl,
Will
people with
amp up.
ADHD, it like
Oh, okay, then maybe I don't have ADHD, or maybe I go through swing sessions of it because sometimes Benadryl would make me sleepy, but I stopped taking that.
I can see
So,
it.
mm-hmm.
I'm ADHD and I need coffee,
Yes,
right?
yes,
But I need it because I'm like addicted to it.
yes.
Not because I want it wakes me up because it does not.
Right.
Just
But it
tastes
doesn't
so
put me to
good.
sleep.
Yeah.
I need it. Like I
Yeah.
am a really unkind and unpleasant person without caffeine.
Well, I am not that level, but I do like Wyatt's entire family looks at me and they're like, I'll be drinking coffee. I'll go get a fresh latte or make something at, I don't know, anytime after 2 o'clock for some of them. But for me, I'll make a cup of coffee like 6 p.m. I can drink coffee literally anytime. The only
Yeah.
effect I have from coffee is sometimes is the diuretic situation, and sometimes I will, depending on how strong it is, I'll get the like internal, like my hands don't shake, but I'll get like that internal shaky, but it doesn't do anything to my brain. And they're like, "How can you sleep?" I'm like, "Literally, I could sleep anytime. I could go to sleep immediately, or you could wait the 6 hours that it takes." And when it does kick in, this is where I know that I'm like backwards because because sometimes caffeine doesn't kick in for 5 to 6 hours depending on how your body is like reacting to it. And so when it does kick in and I start getting that shake, I actually just want to go to sleep. Like I legitimately, it's harder for me to stay awake until that period of time passes, which is usually when it's time for me to get in the car and start driving children wherever it is that we need to go. I'm like, this is a really bad time for me to get really tired. But for me,
Yeah.
it's the action of drinking something, and I'll just
Yeah.
prefer coffee sometimes, but it's the action of drinking something that will keep me awake more than whatever is actually in the beverage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, but Costco opened here like for real life.
Yes, I
Like
saw
Saw that.
actually real.
I have.
Have you gone?
So it's okay, so I didn't for a long time. Not because of the lines, because yes, there was like
Those were
4.5
massive.
hour lines
I
to get
was.
into the parking
Yeah,
lot.
I was
Yep.
watching all of the Facebook like groups that I'm
Yeah.
still in just to
Same.
keep an eye on the Costco drama. I was like,
Yeah, I was
okay.
very well. I just wanted to know, like, I knew there'd be lines, I knew it'd be mess, but I wanted to know what they carried that was one, American that I missed while I was there, and two, like the unique Japanese Costco things that I want here, just because I was curious.
There are some. So it was like it's opening, like all summer. And I was literally
Mm.
like, yeah, okay. It's been opening
It was
literally
supposed to
since I moved
open.
here
Yeah,
Yeah.
in 2019.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
It's
supposed
been
to open before we left.
It
Yeah.
wasn't
Well,
even
it was
built
also
in
supposed to
2019,
open.
but it was supposed to open.
Oh, no, they were like, oh, it's going to be open by December 2019.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'll never forget that. And then every freaking summer, every summer, people are like, oh, the Costco's opening. No, it's not. So
It's not
I
even built
began
yet.
to believe that this is like a lie. This is some sort of conspiracy, right? There is a government cover up happening.
Like the
There's
fake
something.
IKEA. Like the fake IKEA in
Yeah.
Naha. Yes. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, we're being lied to.
we are. Yeah.
And I don't know what they're using this land for. Truly, I don't care. But it's not a Costco because it's been opening for 4 years.
Yeah.
Whatever, 5 years at that point, right? So all summer they're like, it's coming. I'm like, it's not. And then everyone's like, it's open. I'm like, I'm totally not going because you people are like having a fever dream. Like this is like a mass delusion or like it's gonna be really bad. And my friend dragged me to it. So we go and we went on like a random Wednesday, like in the middle of the day. And the parking lot is like, okay, the parking lot, people that are not have never been to Oki will not be able to relate to this.
Explain it, and then maybe one of us can come up with an American
Okay,
like,
so
equivalent.
the like small parking lot above the high school, Kadena High School.
Yes.
Okay, that is how big the parking lot is for
Yep.
Costco.
Well, no wonder there was a 5-hour wait to get in the parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
That's
That probably holds at max. I don't think it even holds 100 cars.
Yeah.
And those are Japanese size cars, but
Yes.
Why don't they have
Okay.
a parking garage on the roof like
No,
they
no.
do in
There's
other
no
buildings?
there's no garage. It's just this
Well,
tiny
that's
little
what
parking lot.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't they build on the roof like they do so many other buildings around there?
it's parking in Japan, Katie. They don't
In
care.
Japan, it's
They don't
parking in
have enough.
Okinawa.
Yeah.
Okay, so people are parking like on the curbs. So there's like that many like actual designated parking spots. And then people are on the curbs, like all along the side. Like it's Oki parking, right?
Right.
Like you're like
Mhm.
squeezing past cars that are like not in parking spaces. It's crazy. Um,
Oh, small, like, dive in here for anybody who's listening. Public transportation in Japan is great, not in Okinawa. There is not like public transportation options to do this where they're like, oh, there's no parking because you can just take the metro and walk. No, there is no metro, and the buses
yeah.
are not spaced out well. Okay, back to your story.
So my friend and I get there and we're like, we're doing this. So I find curb parking, and the parking lot is freaking packed. Like it is literally packed. But I find a curb and I park on it because it's Oki. And we go in, and it's like lines, like unlike the American, just like horde, right? Everyone is in a line
Right.
to go somewhere. So we get our membership, and an executive membership here is like $60 and
I
you get
know.
a
I
gift
saw.
because it's Japan.
I was annoyed.
So
Right.
they have to give you a
And it's
present.
good anywhere in
They
the
have,
world.
they have to
Yes.
give you what?
They,
A present.
you get a present.
Yes. What was the
Like
present?
the New Year's bags.
So I got a two grocery bags. One is like a insulated bag,
Okay.
and one is like a big bag. It's huge, and it has like metal inside of it, so
Ooh,
it
to like
folds
hold
up.
it up.
When you
Nice.
open it, it goes like click click, and you click it, and it like stays like big.
Nice.
Can you buy those there too?
No, only gift. So
Clever.
Only gift.
you get you get your little gift, and then you have to leave where the little thing is, right?
Mhm.
Because Japan, and then you have to go back in the right entrance.
Right.
Mhm.
And they had what immediately struck me as odd was they had bears that were like
Like
at
7 feet tall.
least at least 6 feet tall. Where does one put these in tiny Japanese houses?
How does one get it home? Because again,
Jeremy bought one at Don Q.
yeah, but
I
tiny
mean,
Japanese
now did
cars.
Penelope almost get one of these bears? Yes.
Except then you'd have to ship it. So,
Literally the only thing that stopped me.
oh my gosh. It's
Oh my
That was-
gosh,
that's
that's
big.
amazing.
That's why he can't go to Costco with me.
Bye.
This is from 2010,
I love that.
and then he put it in the driver's seat when we
No.
got in the car.
I love that so much.
That is funny.
I love that
So-
so
Okay,
much.
so for everybody who can't see what we just saw, it is a giant bear, the height of a sitting man,
Person.
and
Okay, well,
in the front
Penelope
seat
almost
of.
got a 6 foot tall teddy bear, and your lucky
The-
shipping is crazy. Because
Yeah,
a 6
because
8 box, this 6 foot tall box would have showed up at your house.
yes. Well,
Um,
because we've done it, and he's in the driver's seat. This teddy bear, because my husband is hilarious and awesome. But
That's funny.
anyway,
It would be so
So-
funny though if I just walked up like without ever telling Lacey and we just set it in front of the door from
it would be
Amelia.
as big as you. You would be like carting it. Like there would be no walking with it. You would have a wheelbarrow with the bear. So like otherwise it's laid out almost exact. Like imagine just like a shrunken American Costco.
Oh, it's smaller?
Just like take it and like yes,
that makes sense.
and just like make everything smaller.
So you didn't have to deal with the crazy lines though of like
It
actually
was
getting
it
in.
was still like there were still lines,
Was there?
but not anything like the 4 hour lines or whatever. But they have like bulk like Japanese like pencils and pens and erasers and like and there's like clothes and stuff in the center,
Uh-huh.
but it's like Japanese brands of clothes.
So also Japanese sizes.
Yes, so also
Oh,
Japanese
yeah.
sizes. And then they had like a whole sake, like bulk sake
Hmm.
aisle, and they had the like the like fruit freezer, but it was like tiny,
Oh,
Yeah.
but it still existed.
right.
So there's that. Yeah, you only get one rotisserie chicken per Costco card.
I wonder if that will
Makes
always be
sense.
the
But they're
case.
800 yen.
That's cheap. That's as cheap as it is here. It's still
Yes,
$4.99, I think.
which because at the commissary they're like $12.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
think they're $13.75 now. They're almost $14 for a rotisserie chicken. So, and you stand in line for them. Like the little rotisserie chicken holder thing is like empty, and you
Right.
stand in line
And
for
they
them, and a little
hand
person
them out.
hands them to you. And they have they have this whole like sushi like thing where they're like
Oh,
making this. Oh, it's so good.
So much
Like,
better.
yes, it's so much better. Oh, and then there's like several many like there's like an aisle of natto.
oh,
Mhm.
no. It's so
You're
sweet.
gonna smile at them?
Oh, I have to talk about this real quick.
She looks like Brody.
Yeah. She looks like all of them. It's wild.
They tell me
Your
about your
book
book.
that you have to talk about.
So this is the second book that I read by accident because when I went to buy all those books for Amelia, which Amelia, you haven't told me whether or not you've read any of the other ones yet because I don't know if they were any good, but
I have thoughts.
I opted not to send you this one, and it's probably for the better because it's the second book and I didn't realize that at the time. So I read it out of order. But Lacey, I need you to read this sometime because
Everyone on this train is a suspect.
oh, you can start with the first one. The first one is everyone in my family has killed someone. Neither of them are well, they're I mean,
I'm looking for a
people
new
die,
like
right?
candy read, so
Okay. It's a little bit more than a candy read, but he's a comedian actually, and it's this. But the first one, stop it. They're not like a bunch of assassins. They don't go around like serial killers. It's nothing like that.
I
But
can only get the audiobook.
okay. Well, I need you to see if you can get it because I had for the first book, I had the audiobook and I had the checked out book because I took this to London to finish. I checked out the other one. I was like, it's summer. I can actually read. I couldn't figure out stuff and keep up when having the audiobook and the physical book at the same
Ah,
time. And the whole time I'm like, I don't I don't know. I don't know. I know, but I don't know. I was so conflicted. I felt lost, but I also felt like I knew everything because he's up front. He sits there and he tells you, like he'll just break in the middle and be like, FYI. So in this one, he uses the killer's name 106 times. He tells you that at the very beginning. So you can figure it out. And at random points, he'll be like, FYI, or just let's have a break and do a name count. And he breaks down each person and how many times it's been used by that point. And yet still get to the end. And I'm like, I'm so lost, but I'm not. Like, I know all the information, but I don't really know where it's going. So
that sounds fun.
yeah.
Okay.
So the first one I sort of figured out, but I couldn't figure out how he was going to make a loop around. Because he is also like, there's all these rules. You'll see it. Like you have to know all the information. If the hero knows it, then you know it. There's no like hiding information from the reader. So that's what it is he's going through the whole time. He's like, as a reminder, I'm telling you all of these things as I learn them. And so with all of that, I thought that I would be able to figure it out, and he does a really great job because I didn't. But I need to know if you can. I'm not going to give you any hints on it. I just need to know if you can. Lace or Amelia, you too. The first one is everyone in my family has killed someone.
Okay. So send me your like all the Libby like cards that you have so I can get more access to
See if
more
I can
books.
do it. Yes.
And then see if I can find it that way. Because I
Okay.
can't I got a book at the library. I had to take a picture of it and return it because I didn't even crack it open. So I took a picture to take it later and it was James Patterson Secret Lives of Booksellers and Librarians, True Stories of the
I
Magic
saw
of
that
Reading.
one. It's on my to be read
Yes.
list. Yes.
Yeah, it's on my to be read list, even though I got
Actually,
it at the library because I didn't even crack it open.
it
I have
was
to read two. This one.
yeah, it was sitting right next to the
Yeah.
first book of this, but I ended up getting the other one instead. Because I was already reading the second book. I definitely
Yeah.
read them out of order, but that didn't really spoil the first one other than I knew um not who the killers and the situation because he doesn't bring that into the second one. So it didn't spoil
Hmm.
that. I just knew who like to expect again in the future kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. I I'm intrigued to know how you guys do it from a different perspective to see whether or not you guys can figure stuff out and your feelings on it. So let me know.
Penelope wants to share a book. She said, "We got this one."
Oh, something called Festival
Oh,
of
that looks like a
Colors.
good book.
It's about
That
Holly.
ooh,
She
that
picked that
looks.
one out.
I like
But
that one.
we also kept DNA and renewed that one because that is her favorite book. Still.
I love that.
All right.
Mhm.
Why not?
Amelia, what did you read?
I read the Dictionary of Lost Words, and I don't recommend it at all. Don't read it. It's terrible.
Okay.
Okay then.
It's not terrible in the same way that I hate Fourth Wing. It's just terrible. It's a bad book.
She doesn't
The
really hate
author,
Fourth Wing, but she
I
hates it for the
really,
same.
I am so invested in this book, and I hate it.
I can't even apologize. Oh, Amy and I definitely sat down and had long conversations. So thanks for the new friend,
But
Amelia.
you're welcome. I hate how much I invested in Fourth Wing. The Dictionary of Lost Words was awful, and it literally, this is how it ends. And then she did this whole thing, and it was her whole life's work. And I know that I've been building this up for 400 pages, but absolutely nothing is going to come of it. Oh, and she dies.
Huh.
The end.
That's kind of
That's up.
that sucks. Well,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
really,
I'll pass.
I'll do
Thanks.
mine really quickly. I just finished David Baldacci's Simply Lies. Okay, so hold on.
You're not gonna get
So
through
Simply
this.
Lies. I'm not. I typically go get another book. I typically don't like female leads that are like detectives because it's either written by a man
Mm.
and it's written weird, or there's no depth, or it's like I can't relate to the character because she's like so ultra feminist, or it's just it doesn't seem real to me. So okay, it's about a detective, a female detective who no longer works for the police force and has two kids, but she does like private work at home for some company finding assets, and gets called in to go to this place and finds a dead body. And it's okay. And anyway, it's actually a really good read. And in the last 200 pages, you start to figure everything out. But then by the end, you're still kind of getting these like, whoa, wait a minute, who's this? Anyway, I actually really liked it. If you're in the mood for like a mystery, like not really a thriller, but kind of
I hope then that you feel the same way
detective
about
book.
these.
Yeah, like it took me a while to be like, okay, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like, what's the point? She's okay, like because she's a mom. I find that relatable, but it's really interesting story. Simply Lies, David Baldacci. I like him as an author anyway, and he generally writes women like in a way that's not awful. Um, but yeah, so I would recommend that book. It's actually quite good, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And then the last 200 pages are really really good. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's it for me.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
there we go. There's our summer reads in a nutshell.
Thanks for listening to us catch up. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on all of the social media places. Bye.
Bye.
And like we just got to talking, she thought we were missionaries in a third world country.
Oh my gosh. And then they weren't even like had the ability to go because you were in a third world country, so therefore strawberries weren't even a thing.
Yeah.
and I was like, those aren't gonna fit me. But I put them on, and I was like, oh, and the smalls, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm just pregnant. That's nice.